So we had a script that checks if a is greater than 3 and prints out these operations, if that is true. Now let me go ahead and use a more real-world example. Let's create a variable here called username and give it a value of an empty string. And here let's check if username is different than the real username, which let's suppose it's pi. Now, while that is true, we want to ask the user to enter an username. So let's see what's going to happen. Enter username, we got the prompt here by the input function, pi. No, we get enter username again, pi p maybe, no, pi. And so this time we don't get a prompt anymore. The execution of the program ends. So let me explain what happened here. We declared the empty string to variable username, and then here we check if the value of the username variable is different than pi. In this case, it's different because this is an empty string and this is pi. Therefore, the first iteration will occur, which is this one here. So in the first iteration, we are asking the user to enter some input. This is what happened here in the first iteration. So enter username was prompted and we entered pi. So pi now is a string that will be assigned to username. And the loop goes through the second iteration. So while username is different than pi, which is true in this case, because username for now it's pi, the string pi. So pi is different than pi, therefore go ahead and execute the body of the while loop again, which is this one here. So ask one more time for the username from the user. So username, the user enters pi p this time, the loop goes through the head, through the beginning again, and it checks if pi p is different than pi. That's true, get the username again. In this case, we got pi. So username is pi now. The loop goes again, while username is different than pi. In this case, that is not true, because in this case, the username is equal to pi. So, pi is it different than pi? No, that's false. So in the third iteration, this will be equal to false. And that is when the loop ends. So for loops end when their container is exhausted, and while loops end when the condition is false.